The Harlow Group's headquarters sat on the edge of downtown like it was daring the rest of the city to keep up. 42 floors of steel and tinted glass, the kind of building that made regular people feel small before they even walked through the front door. The afternoon sky had gone a heavy, washed-out gray, like the clouds were holding something in and deciding whether or not to drop it. Zara Okafor had no business being on the 39th floor. She knew it. She went anyway. She was 6 weeks into her marketing assistant role and the main office smelled like recycled air and quiet desperation, so when the elevator doors opened on the wrong floor and she stepped out before she could think, she just let it happen. 5 seconds. That was all she needed. 5 seconds of somewhere else. She stood near the floor-to-ceiling windows at the end of the east corridor, pressing her fingertips against the cold glass, looking at the city below like it owed her something. Her outfit was doing the most, honestly. Oversized cream blazer over a rust-colored spaghetti strap bodysuit, wide-leg olive cargo pants that sat low on her hips, and chunky white Antan sneakers that had seen better days but still hit. Her hair was in 2 big puffs pinned slightly off-center, gold hoops in her ears, and a thin chain around her neck with a tiny moon pendant her mom gave her before everything went sideways. She looked like she belonged in a creative agency somewhere, not chasing approval in a finance building that barely knew she existed. Her phone vibrated. She did not even need to look. That particular buzz had a feeling attached to it. The kind that lives behind your sternum and squeezes. She looked anyway. The text was from her brother, Kofi. 3 words. They took everything. Zara closed her eyes for exactly 2 seconds. When she opened them, the city outside was still there, still gray, still completely unbothered by the fact that her whole life was quietly catching fire. She needed to leave. Right now. Not after her 4 o'clock check-in with her supervisor. Not after she sent the campaign brief she had not finished. Now. The problem was the man standing at the other end of the corridor. He was leaning against the wall with his arms crossed, watching her like she was a variable in an equation he had not solved yet. Tall. Still. The kind of person who did not need to raise his voice because the room always went quiet before he got there anyway. Marcus Vale. Director of Acquisitions. 33 years old and already the reason 3 companies had restructured their entire futures. She had seen him exactly twice in 6 weeks. Both times from a distance. Both times she had looked away first. He was wearing a black mock-neck fitted long sleeve, dark charcoal straight-cut trousers with a clean break at the ankle, and matte black low-top sneakers that were clearly expensive in the way that did not need a logo. A thin watch on his left wrist. No flashiness. No performance. Just someone who moved through the world like he had already decided how things were going to go. He pushed off the wall when he saw her notice him. "This floor is restricted," he said. Not aggressive. Just true. "I know." Zara did not move. "I got lost." He looked at her for a beat too long. "You did not get lost." She opened her mouth. Closed it. "Your shoulders have been up near your ears since you stepped out of that elevator," he said. "That is not what lost looks like. That is what cornered looks like." Zara stared at him. Nobody here had ever looked at her long enough to notice anything. "Family thing," she said finally. "I need to leave early. I know how it looks. I will make up the hours. Every single one." Marcus tilted his head slightly. "How bad?" She held up her phone screen down. She did not show him the message. She did not need to. Something moved behind his eyes. Quiet. Like a door being unlocked from the inside. "Go," he said. Zara blinked. "I'm sorry." "You heard me." She did not move. 6 weeks of trying to be invisible and now the most important man on this floor was telling her to leave and somehow that felt like the most dangerous thing that had happened all day. "What do you want for this?" she asked. And Marcus Vale, who never smiled at work, did something with the corner of his mouth that was not quite a smile but was absolutely something. Just go, Zara. She froze. She had never told him her name. Zara made it to the parking garage before her legs decided they were done cooperating. She sat on a concrete barrier near the stairwell, elbows on her knees, phone in both hands, staring at Kofi's message like reading it again was going to change what it said. It did not. The bail amount he texted 20 minutes later was real. The number was not something she had sitting around. The garage was dim and smelled like oil and exhaust and old decisions. A flickering fluorescent light above her buzzed like it was also having a bad day. She had not even cried yet. The feeling was too big to cry about. It was just sitting in her chest like a stone. You did not leave. She looked up. Marcus Vale was standing at the base of the stairwell in his coat now, a fitted dark olive double-breasted overcoat over his mock neck, hands in his pockets. He was not supposed to be here. Nobody ever came down to P2. I could not get a rideshare in time, she said. Flat. Honest. He did not say anything fake like, "Are you okay?" because she clearly was not. He just walked over and sat on the barrier about 2 feet away from her. Not hovering. Not performing concern. Just present. Who is it? He asked. My brother. What did he do? He did not do anything. He was just in the wrong place. She exhaled. Story of our whole family honestly. Marcus was quiet for a moment. The fluorescent light kept buzzing. I have a sister, he said. She called me from a police station in Philly 3 years ago. 4 in the morning. Zara looked at him sideways. Did you go? I was in the middle of closing a $40 million deal. Did you go? She said again. He met her eyes. I went. Something in Zara's chest shifted without her permission. How much do you need? He said. She laughed. Not because it was funny. Because the question was so direct and she was so tired. You do not even know me. I know you have been on time every single day for 6 weeks. I know you rewrote the Henderson deck at 11 at night because your supervisor sent it in wrong and you did not want the team to look bad. I know your name because I pay attention to people who carry weight quietly. Zara did not have a response to that. Nobody had ever said anything like that to her out loud. I do not want your money, she said finally. I know. He reached into his coat and pulled out a card. Plain. Matte black. Just a number. But I know people. Attorneys. People who can move fast. She took the card. Her fingers were steady. She was proud of that. Why are you doing this? She asked. He stood up, adjusting his coat. Because 6 weeks ago someone did it for me and I never got to pay it back. He walked toward the elevator. Marcus. She did not know why she said his name. It just came out. He turned. Thank you. He nodded once. The elevator doors opened. He stepped in. And just before they closed, he said, Be careful who you trust inside that building, Zara. Not everyone watching you is watching out for you. The doors shut. She sat there in the buzzing dim of the parking garage, holding a matte black card, and felt the first threat of something she absolutely could not afford. She looked up his name when she got in her car. The third result was a news article from 2 years ago. The headline read, Marcus Vale steps down amid internal investigation. And below it, the name of the person who had filed the complaint against him. Her supervisor. Zara did not sleep. She got Kofi out at 11:47 p.m. He smelled like stress and fast food and he cried in the passenger seat for 8 minutes straight without saying a word. She let him. She drove with one hand on the wheel and one hand on the armrest, eyes on the road, jaw tight. When she dropped him at their aunt's place, she sat outside in the dark for a long time. The article would not leave her head. Marcus Vail. 2 years ago. An internal investigation into an alleged misuse of client data. The complaint filed by a senior team lead. Someone named Danny Cho. Danny Cho was Zara's direct supervisor. She called in a favor from a former college roommate who still worked in financial journalism. By 2 in the morning she had 3 more articles, 1 sealed court document summary, and a thread on a finance forum that made her stomach turn. The case had been dropped. All charges. Marcus had not been removed. He had stepped down voluntarily and returned 8 months later after an independent audit cleared him completely. The complaint had been fabricated. Danny Cho had filed it to stall a merger Marcus had been blocking because it would have displaced 200 employees. Danny had been promised a seat on the new board if the deal went through. The deal went through anyway. Marcus had come back and said nothing publicly. Zara sat with that information like it was something hot she did not know whether to hold or drop. She showed up to work the next morning in a deep burgundy knit sweater dress that hit just below the knee, layered over a white long-sleeve fitted top underneath, with caramel brown knee-high boots and a cognac leather crossbody bag. Her hair was out, big and soft around her face, gold studs in, the moon necklace sitting just above her collarbone. She looked calm. She was not calm. Danny called her into a glass-walled office at 9:15. "I heard you left early yesterday," Danny said. She was sitting behind her desk in a crisp white blazer, tablet in front of her, reading glasses on. Pleasant voice. Practiced smile. "Family emergency," Zara said. "I cleared it." "You cleared it with who, exactly?" Zara held very still. "It was handled." Danny set her tablet down. "Zara, I want to be honest with you because I think you have real potential here. There are certain people in this building who will take an interest in junior staff for reasons that have nothing to do with your career. Do you understand what I'm saying?" "I think so," Zara said carefully. "Marcus Vail has a pattern," Danny said. Softly. Concerned. "I am telling you this as someone who has been here long enough to see it. Keep your distance. For your own good." Zara nodded slowly. "Thank you for the advice." She walked out of that office and took the stairs to the 39th floor. She did not have clearance. She went anyway. Marcus was in a glass conference room alone, no jacket, sleeves of his mock neck pushed up, laptop open, coffee going cold beside him. He looked up when she walked in. He did not look surprised. "She talked to you," he said. "This morning." He closed the laptop. And I did my own research." She crossed her arms. "You blocked the Harlodex merger 2 years ago. She filed a false complaint to remove you. You came back and never said a word about it publicly." Something moved across his face. Quiet. Almost tired. "Why didn't you expose her?" Zara asked. He was silent for a beat. "Because the 200 people who still have jobs did not need to be collateral in my ego trip," he said. Zara felt something crack open in her chest. "She is trying to build a case to remove you again," she said. "I think she knows you are blocking something new." Marcus looked at her for a long moment. "How do you know that?" "Because she just warned me away from you." Zara met his eyes. "And people only do that when they are scared of what 2 people might figure out together." The silence between them was loud. "You should walk away from this," he said finally. "You are 6 weeks in. This is not your fight." "I know," she said. She did not walk away. She sat down across from him. And neither of them spoke for a moment because they both understood that something had just shifted and there was no clean way back to before it. His phone buzzed on the table. He looked at it. His jaw tightened. He turned the screen toward her. It was an email from HR. Her name was in the subject line. The email was a formal performance concern notice. Unauthorized floor access. Early departure without proper approval. Conduct unbecoming of a junior associate. 3 bullet points. Danny chose signature at the bottom. One more and it would be grounds for termination. Zara read it twice. Then she set the phone down on the conference table and breathed through her nose. She moved fast, she said. She always does. Marcus was watching her. Not with pity. Something steadier than that. This is because of yesterday, Zara said. Because she saw me leave. Because she knows you let me go. Yes. And if I keep sitting in this room with you it gets worse. Yes. She looked up at him. You are not going to tell me to leave again. No, he said. I am done making that call for you. That landed somewhere deep and quiet. Okay. She pushed the phone back toward him. Then tell me what is actually going on. All of it. Because if I am burning my internship for this, I need to know what I am standing next to. Marcus leaned back. Looked at the ceiling for a second like he was deciding something. Then he looked at her. The Harlow Group is being positioned for a private acquisition. Silent buyer. If it goes through, 70% of this staff gets absorbed into a parent company and restructured out within 18 months. That is around 400 people. Zara went very still. Does anyone know? 3 people on the board know. Danny knows because she negotiated herself a consulting contract on the back end of it. He paused. I have been stalling the due diligence process for 2 months. Quietly. And they need you gone to push it through. Yes. Zara sat with that. The afternoon light through the conference room glass was thin and gray, the city below moving without knowing any of this was happening above it. I have the original merger documents, she said slowly. From the Henderson deck I reworked. There were inconsistencies I flagged internally but nobody responded to. I thought it was just a formatting issue. Marcus went very still. What kind of inconsistencies, he said. Entity names that did not match the parent company filings. Dates that were off. I noted them in my version and sent it up. Danny sent a different version to the board. The air in the room changed. You still have your version, he said. Not a question. I keep everything. He looked at her like she had just said something that mattered a lot. Like she had walked into a room he had been standing in alone for a long time. Zara. His voice was quieter. If you hand that over, she will know it was you. The complaint escalates. You lose the internship. Maybe more than that. I know. This is not your mess to clean up. 400 people, she said. You told me 400. He said nothing. My dad lost his job in a restructure when I was 12, she said. It was not dramatic. There was no villain they could point to. Just a decision made in a room like this one by people who never had to see his face. She looked at Marcus steady. So yeah. It is my mess now. Something shifted in his expression. Not the almost smile from before. Something rawer. Something that looked like it cost him to show. If we do this, he said, we do it right. Documented. Legal. No shortcuts. Obviously, she said. And after, he said carefully, when this is over and however it lands. I want to have a conversation that has nothing to do with this building. Zara looked at him for a long moment. One thing at a time, she said. But she did not say no. They worked until the floor was empty and the cleaners came and left and the city outside went from gray to dark to lit up gold. 2 people in a glass room, building something careful and dangerous out of documents and quiet trust. At 10:43 p.m., Zara sent the file to the independent auditor Marcus had contacted. At 10:44 p.m., her building access card stopped working. Someone had already moved. 3 weeks later, the story broke. Not in the building. In the press. A financial journalist picked up the auditor's findings and ran a piece that was quiet and precise and absolutely devastating. No dramatic headlines. Just facts stacked on facts until there was nowhere for anyone to hide. The acquisition deal collapsed. Danny Cho resigned before the board could meet. 2 other executives followed her out. The silent buyer pulled their offer when the inconsistencies in the filings went public. 412 people kept their jobs. Zara found out on a Tuesday morning sitting in her kitchen in an oversized gray hoodie and plaid pajama pants, coffee going cold, her phone lighting up with alerts. Kofi was asleep in the next room. The apartment was quiet. Outside the window, the city was doing what it always did. Moving. Unbothered. Alive. She had been formally released from her internship 6 days after her access card stopped working. The letter from HR used the phrase, mutual separation, which was a very polite way of saying they knew she had done it and they could not prove it and they did not want the liability of keeping her. She was okay with that. She had cried about it exactly once, in the car, on the way home that night, while Marcus sat in the passenger seat and said nothing because he understood that some things needed space and not words. Then she had stopped crying, wiped her face, and driven home. He had called every day since. Not about work. Just to call. She was on her 3rd cup of coffee when someone knocked on her door. She opened it. Marcus was standing in the hallway in a dark green crewneck sweatshirt, clean gray sweatpants, and white sneakers, holding 2 paper cups from the coffee place 3 blocks away that she had mentioned exactly once in passing. He looked like a regular person. He also looked like the realest thing she had seen in a long time. "You saw the news," he said. "I saw the news," she said. He held out one of the cups. "I thought about texting. Then I thought about actually showing up." She took the cup. "Good call." She stepped back from the door. He came in. He sat on the couch. She sat on the opposite end, tucking her feet under her, both of them quiet for a moment in the morning light that was coming through her window, thin and gold and unhurried. "I resigned this morning," he said. She looked at him. "Marcus. Not because of this. Because I have been staying in that building out of stubbornness for 2 years and I think I was confusing not running with actually wanting to be there." He looked at his cup. "I do not want to be there." "What do you want?" she asked. He looked at her. Direct. Steady. The way he always looked at things he had already thought through completely. "I want to build something that is actually mine," he said. "And I think you should be involved in that. If you want to be." Zara was quiet for a moment. "You know, I just lost my internship," she said. "I know. I have no savings and a brother who is currently eating all my cereal." "I heard cereal," Kofi said from the hallway. "Go back to sleep," Zara said without turning around. There was a pause. Then retreating footsteps. Marcus pressed his lips together, not quite laughing. She was not quite laughing either. But the space between them felt warm and real and entirely different from every fluorescent-lit, glass-walled, high-stakes moment that had brought them here. "I am not easy to work with," she said. "I know. Neither am I. And I will not do anything I do not believe in just because you are the one asking. I would not want you to." She looked at him for a long moment. The morning light was doing something kind to the room. The coffee was good. Kofi was quiet. The city outside was moving at its usual unbothered pace. "Tell me the idea," she said. And he did. And it was good. And for the first time in a long time, Zara Okafor felt like she was exactly where the story was supposed to go. Not because someone handed her anything. But because she had walked through the hard part and come out on the other side with her name intact, her choices hers, and someone sitting across from her who had seen all of it and stayed anyway. That was not a small thing. That was everything. The end.